Jeremy Ryan reporting from Defending Wisconsin Political Action Committee, www.defendingwisconsin.org. In this clip today, you'll see different parts of the Joint Finance Committee today. This was the first portion. I'm currently on break in between two portions. They had called recess till 2:30, went back, they called recess till 4:30, and so now I'm waiting for the next portion of the Joint Finance Committee. But I did have a message I wanted to share. A lot of these... Recently, there was an article written by the Associated Press, who obviously doesn't like me very much at all and is letting that get in the way of their journalistic integrity. And it was about the protests that we're doing, where we're getting arrested for holding up signs in the Joint Finance Committee meetings and other meetings. And the article had Representative Brett Hulsey and Senator Bob Jauch as condemning our actions. And this is where it really gets me, because not only should the legislators be actually encouraging our actions, given as they are helping end a power grab that is completely unconstitutional, but they should be there with us, to be honest with you. And if not, then they should stop just only fighting for us when it's convenient for them and when it's politically convenient, and start actually sending out statements that are in support. Senator Erpenbach kind of did that on the Senate floor, but then again, there was no press statement to follow. So I'm sick and tired of these people, Democrats, who want to be on our side, quote unquote, when it's convenient for them, but not when it's not. And so we need to really put pressure on our legislators to start speaking up about this, because this is a power grab, and the more of these battles that we win, the more it helps with the GOP. What policies have they actually reversed? Not a single one. What they do is they sit here and they deliver speeches when they're supposed to deliver speeches, and it falls on deaf ears. Well, let's see here. My actions, along with other people, the actions that I have led in the Rotunda and in the Joint Committee on Finance meetings so far, have led to the changing of unconstitutional policies. So, what's so wrong about that? Stop criticizing us for actually doing something for justice and start joining in, or at the very least, issuing statements of support. And that's the message we need to send our legislators. Jeremy Ryan reporting from Defending Wisconsin Political Action Committee, www.defendingwisconsin.org.
Action by the previous. Secondly, Medicaid. Director Lang, one quick question. The money that we are paying, is it future bills, or is it bills that we're actually incurring during this biennium and previous legislatures, because they actually tried to push the money into the future, just chose to pay them late?
You've been paying them late, probably like that.
Okay, that's what I thought. So for once, we are actually trying to say we are going to pay bills when they're due. Now, I know for some people on the outer side of this table, that is a radical concept, to pay bills when they're actually due. I even heard Senator Jauch say, let's just take that money, and I wrote it down.
I did not. I said, we don't know, it could be phased in over 10 or 20 years. That could be the settlement. I didn't say do it that way. Don't put words in my mouth.
He said that the court settlement had not happened.
We'll go back and look at Wisconsin.
Yeah, you should, because you are misquoting.
Did I interrupt you during your entire diatribe?
You did.
No, I didn't. I sat here. You came to me and said I wasn't paying close enough attention.
Look at the tape.
You know, people, we started out with an idea that we would meet early, try to talk about something that we thought was positive, and try to reestablish, hopefully, some ability to work together. I mean, Senator Darling and I wanted to reach out and say, before we introduce this bill, we talked about it with the Democrats to try to set a new tone. And you can see that our efforts have been trying to go in that route to have us be able to get beyond what's happened in the past. Some people can only live in the past, and I think that's a shame. So we are paying our bills with this bill. Some have suggested that potentially the court could settle in a 10-year timeline. That would be, let me finish. Some have suggested that we would use a 10-year timeline. We could do that, which would mean we'd pay more interest, we'd push off more bills, and we'd spend more money that we don't have. I think that would not be a wise investment. Some have said that we are doing repair bill after repair bill. Director Lang, which budget are we operating under currently? Was it the one that was passed by Governor Doyle and the majority of Democrats? Or is it the new one that's been proposed by Governor Walker and the Republicans?
The adjustment is
So the answer for those following along at home is the reason we have had to do repairs and adjustments is because of the last administration's inability to accurately budget. We now see that when I heard people speak, they inferred that they were the reason that all this new money came in. And you know what? I am willing to give you all the credit. Because do you know why this money came in? Because of your massive tax increases that are sucking money out of the taxpayers of Wisconsin. We chose to say, instead of just spending that on new programs and expanding the size of government, we're going to pay off debts that you've left us and you think that maybe we shouldn't have to pay. Patients' compensation. The $54 million that the Doyle administration could not cut, even though they promised that they would. We talk about Act 10. The legislation actually says that we would have the ability to go back and ask employees, once it's been put into law, where I am confident the Supreme Court will rule it will be, for all that money back. We have the ability to ask all of those employees to pay for the withholding since the date of enactment. What this says is, because of a liberal activist judge, we don't think it's fair that we go back and ask them to have to come up with a whole paycheck or two to do something because legal activism ran amok in Dane County. This actually covers the cost so that those employees don't have to worry about having a huge paycheck taken because of your inability. I think it's amazing that we heard somebody also say that they had an amendment they offered. No, I don't think any amendment was offered on the Senate floor because some people were AWOL. And I think that is a shame for everybody who is watching on Wisconsin Eye. So with that, everybody spoke twice. We are going to call the roll. Please call the roll.
I'm sorry, Mr. Chair, I didn't get a chance to speak twice at all, and I'm in the queue next, I believe. I would like that opportunity if possible. I did not get the same opportunity that everyone else had on this committee to speak twice, so the other people who took advantage of it.
Okay. I'm going to try to keep that collegiality. We have asked people to put their names on the list because the tradition always has been.
My name has been on the list.
I'm sorry. We have asked people, additionally, the chairs always spoke last. We've tried very hard to follow that. I will go back, even though Joe didn't have you on the list when I started talking, to go back and say, feel free. Hopefully you will not echo the comments of your colleagues in the Senate about the way they said. Representative Grigsby, followed by Representative Shaw.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I certainly share your frustration. If you could imagine, which I know you can, because you've been in our place before, how frustrating it is to be 4 of 16 and to come back to this body every day and to make the arguments and to bash your head against the wall, only to have the same vote fall down time and time and time again. So if you are frustrated, you can only imagine how we feel. Now, I just want to, I think in fairness and I in all due respect, understand that the chair typically has the last word, and I do respect that. But I just feel I'd be remiss if that I did not address just a couple of things very quickly, to the best of my ability to be quick. You know, you talked about this new air of collegiality. You talked about setting a new tone. I mean, come on. All 16 of us have been together for the last how many weeks? in this room, having debate after debate after debate, and there has not been collegiality. There has not been mutual respect. People have been laughing when people are talking. Roll calls have been rolled through. People's ability to debate and to represent their constituency has been severely limited. You have not let people speak more than twice, sometimes not even that, and I thank you for letting me speak this time. Let's be honest here. This is not a new age of collegiality at all. The civility and the collegiality in this body and on this committee is non-existent. So let's not pretend, and I think that members on my side of the aisle on this committee did appreciate you coming to us and did appreciate you saying, here is the bill. This is what we're doing, this is how we expect it to go, but that doesn't mean that we have to agree with everything that's in it. And it doesn't mean that we don't have ideas and opinions and thoughts and the right to express those, as we are all elected. So I think that it is fair that you not paint this place. I mean, everyone in the world, let's just be real, everyone in the world knows what has happened to the civility in this body. The respect between colleagues, people who used to speak in the hallways who don't even speak anymore, people who are running through tunnels to get out of the building. All of that has happened in a course of 4 months. And so let's not pretend that that is there when it's not. So, your frustration is shared. Your frustration is shared. However, I still think there should be some decorum, and there still should be the ability for members of the minority to speak and to express their feelings, to express their thoughts and their opinions, and to ask questions, for votes not to be rolled through, for us to go to the restroom, for us to have a lunch break, even if it's 15 minutes, so that people can come back and function. So again, collegiality is not what we are striving for, clearly, as we meet every day. And the last thing that I will say is, you talk about working together. Well, how well did we work together on that voter ID bill? And how well did we work together on those issues that affect women's access to health care? And how well did we work together on that collective bargaining bill? And how well are we working together on saving MPS from facing a $182 million cut? We're not working so well on all of those things. So we work well when you want to call it working well, but really it's kind of your show, and we all know that. So let's just call it what it is. And again, I will defend until the end that the Democrats had everything to do with the extra money that we found, that you all found, the Fiscal Bureau found, as a result of our policies and things that we implemented. No, we did not find the money because we taxed until we could tax no more. We did not tax 99% of the average person. We taxed 1%. We went after 1% of the wealthiest people in the state. And so I'm sorry that 1% offends you, but it's that 1%. I don't know how many of that 1% lives in my district. And so I think that the 99% that did not get taxed are pretty happy about it. And I promise this is the last thing. This is the last point I have written down. You talk about the activist judge, Sumi. Number one, that activist judge, as we all know, was appointed by Tommy Thompson. And second of all, I don't know, I guess I'm happy to be an activist if that person, to call myself an activist, if that person said what it was. She said that you broke the law. And that's what you did. That's what she ruled. You broke the law. So I guess when they rule, when it's not in your favor, they're an activist. But when it is in your favor, they're a judge. So let's, I'm sorry that was the ruling, but it is what it is, and it's what it is. But now she's an activist, and that makes me very proud to be an activist. So let's just, I think this is going to be a very long day. I think a lot of tensions are high. We're very frustrated. But, as we begin to start making up stuff, I think it's important that some facts be clarified. And I'll be happy to volunteer to do that. That'll be my role for today. Thank you.